Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not to Comic Book. This being a show, we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Fear the Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 5. Another great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. I figured things were going to end this way, but I was hoping for a miracle that maybe everything would work out in, because obviously the plan is to try and get to Grace to June as soon as possible. But the problem is the train car with all the equipment is constantly on the move and they don't know where it is. The only person who does know is Shrike, and she will let Grace get on the train and stuff, but only if Morgan helps clear out all those walkers. Because it's like, right, you are very good at what you do. You are very proficient. You're a very good fighter and killer. Like, we've seen that over the course of not just this series, since Morgan's introduction, but obviously for a very long time we've witnessed how good Morgan is at it. I mean, especially in season 6 when he just kind of like stopped just using the staff and went full blown line killing people. So when he really kind of, it's become even more proficient killer since season 6. At once he kind of had that shift after like losing everything to Virginia. But either way, Shrike wants him to clear the shipyard because they need all the stuff that's in there, but it also means something that they can't go in guns and blazing because they can't take a chance that stuff in there gets damaged, especially because there's like munition stuff in there, so one stray bullet could like have the whole place blown up. So that's more, we gotta be careful about it. And obviously because Daniel doesn't trust her, he won't back up Morgan in this. And even Grace is okay with that, because for her it's like, I didn't have that much time to begin with, and now they ended up having to, it's already, things are bad enough. She's already dying from this infection. She's already sick from radiation, so she already had a limited amount of time. So even if you do save me, it's not like I can be fully saved. I'll just be, I'll have a little bit more time. But for Mo, a little more time is better than just one more day, Even if it's like, hey, only have a couple months with you, even if I have a year, that's more than the day I would, because I have even less than, because of how fast the bite's infection spreads, because obviously they can't amputate it considering where the infection is right now. So doing everything they can. But like, it's interesting too, because Shrike has this crazy element to her where it's like, it is that thing of, you can tell in their own mind, her and her brother are doing stuff for the greater good, but it's still like, you're going about it the most warped way, because they're like, hey, we're going to kill Grace in case she transforms, because we don't want to take the chance that she might like hurt Ren. Like, this is our way to protect you. So it's like, they have every intention of protecting the children. It's like, that's why we do what we do. We want you to be prepared for the world. We want to make sure that you're okay, because you are the ones who will be inheriting this world. We want this next generation to be able to be okay, to create a better world for them. And like I said, it's as the best of intentions are just going about. It's like the CR. The CR has the best intentions, but they went about things the most jacked up way. So Padre's no different. They're exactly in that same boat. Road to hell, paved good intentions and all that, It's so interesting because this is, and what makes this situation even that much sadder is because there's so many divides of what someone wants versus what other people want, because what you want won't always fully align with what everyone else wants, because Grace wants to spend the little bit of time she has left with Morgan and Mo, but they want to do whatever they can to save her. Even if it's a maybe, they're going to try to. But the problem is, Dwight and Sherry, they have the Finch situation. They want to help out Grace because obviously, like, what's happening for Finch is helping him, so it could help Grace as well. But they've got to do what they got to do to try and protect Finch. But they're also trying to give Morgan and Mo and Grace more time, because it's like, yeah, this is a family, and we've been through so much together. So it's like, right, one of us is in danger. We're going to do everything we can to help. And Morgan listens to Mo because Mo's like, right, you want to just give up. Mom wants to just give up, but we can't. We can get to the train car and have June meet us there, and she can show us like what to do. And it turns out the entire time they've been working for Padre, Grace has been stashing stuff away, like little bit at a time, because she wanted to kind of make a little haven away from them, just a little slice of life that could be theirs post Padre. And that line from Grace is so heartbreaking, where she was like, I waited till it was too late. That's always been my mistake, because that ended up being like how our introduction to Grace was. Like, once again, like, there was a guy she liked, but she never took the opportunity until it was already too late. That's kind of been her thing, where it's just like, I never lived my life until it was too late. I didn't start living until I thought I was dying of cancer. It turned out I was pregnant, but then sadly that fell. It's just like, when you look back on Grace's character, like, there's so much tragedy, but I think there's some silver lining beauty to that tragedy, because that situation forced her to live her life. And it is sad that it took the end of the world to make her live. It's not until she was nearing her end that made her finally want to live, you know? And that's just been like a periodic element of her character story too. And I think it makes the pairing with her and Morgan that much more poignant and potent because of that. Because they are both people who've had to find a way to live and keep moving forward multiple times throughout their lives, throughout their stories, and then finding each other, and then being in that situation separately, but also together, finding that way forward, finding a reason to live. And it's heartbreaking that, like, it would suck to happen to any character, but to a character we followed this long, that is like, at the end of the day, we wanted Morgan to have a happy ending, considering everything that he's been through, considering everything that he's lost. He lost himself along the way. He's always still lost a piece of himself he was never able to fully get back. I think even after last episode, I think he took steps to taking it back, but even then, I think I don't even know if that's ever within his grasp, but that part of him will always be gone, or maybe he did take it back, but now he has this on top of it. But because I think that side of himself that he finally got back is like, if he was able to finally get it back, is now having to struggle with, like, I might be losing Grace, you know? And it's like, even if I save her from this, it's still the thing of I'm a loser. But like most said, at least it will be longer than a day, that I will still cherish whatever time we have left. That's always the thing of we always think we have more time than we do. And especially from Grace's perspective, because like I said, that line of, I always wait until it's too late. She felt like, okay, Mo is better with Padre, but that's not what I wanted. She's like, if I had said something sooner, maybe I could have convinced us not to let her just stay with Padre. And it's just, once again, it's that line from last episode too. So much wasted time. All these years, her and Morgan could have been together with Mo as well. And it's like, maybe she thinks, because if anyone could have convinced Morgan not to, like, let Mo just stay with Padre, it could have been Grace, but she... And I think that it's almost poetic in certain regards when you think about, like, right, Grace had her reservations when it came to Mo in season 7, just because I'm sure, like, it was still that fresh wound after losing Athena that I think that really... And the sad thing, too, is, like, Mo probably will never get to hear those stories from Grace about Athena, of, like, right, like, you had a sibling that we lost, you know? And that Mo ended up being their second chance in so many capacities. And, well, I'll go ahead and talk about it. That line of her being like, right, like, it wasn't a waste, because me and your dad is like, right, the season 6 finale of, we were going to end it all together because we were so lost. I mean, considering everything that had went down, they were willing to give it all up. They were about to die together, but then they heard her cry and she gave them a new reason to live. You were the reason we kept going. So it's like, you gave us more time than you even realized. And it's just heartbreaking. And it's like, it is a very true line, but it's just so sad. I want, like, once again, it's The Walking Dead. What do I expect? But it's still the thing of, I wanted them to have, like, you, especially Morgan, I want you to have your happily ever after. I wanted Grace to have her happily ever after, considering she thought, you know, this was the end on so many occasions, and now you found another reason to live. And just, once again, just time always taken away from you because maybe you didn't say or do the thing at the time that you really felt. But like multiple times, Grace just wanted to just be with Morgan and Mo, but they kept pushing because they're like, no, we're going to do this. Like, she wanted to go to the relay station. It's like, well, no, we're going to make it to the train. Well, now June has to go check on Finch because his situation's getting worse. And, but it's like, it's okay. Finch needs us. needs June more than we do right now. It's like, let's do what your mom wanted and enjoy our time together. Let's go to the carnival and kind of enjoy that time. But Mo doesn't do that. She's desperate to save her mom. I just got both of you back in my life. I'm not about to lose that. We still have so much time we need to make up for and everything. And Mo ends up taking her to the train car. It's like, right, you and Dad refuse to see it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to save your life. And even to the point that the prefects, including Dove, get in her way. But it's like, right, I know how much hurt you were in when you found out what happened to your mom. You're not going to let me go through that pain too. So they let her through. And she does exactly what June tells her to do. But it's like, that was my concern last episode. I was like, well, how's that going to help work in her situation that she has cancer because of the radiation she was around? But I was like, what will extra radiation do? It's like, well, because she already has cancer, you don't have to worry about how much like radiation to give. You could give her a lot more. Like she had to give Finch a certain limited amount of radiation because the infection ended up coming back. She couldn't completely eradicate it without giving him so much radiation it would kill him. Grace is already in a situation where she already has cancer, so it's like you give her more, it won't be, you go beyond that threshold of what she was able to give for Finch, and it will buy her more time to fight back the infection. And it gave her a little bit more time, I think, but it was just not enough. It was already too late past this point, and any more radiation would just immediately kill her. So, and Morgan isn't even there yet. And even him saying like, right, if they were smart, they would make sure not to get in my way because the prefects are out there waiting in the woods. And it's like, they're not going to step in my way because they know it's going to be an issue if they do. And just Mo's beating herself up. And that's what's really motivating a lot of her decision later on. It's not only the pain of losing Grace. She blames herself. No matter what Grace said, it's like, no. All you wanted to do is you wanted to spend more time with me and Dad, and I took that from you. And she's like, no, you didn't. It's like, yeah, I did. Our time together, all you wanted. Because I don't blame her. Like anyone in that situation would do whatever it takes to fight tooth and nail to just get a little bit more time. I mean, it's that same situation with like someone who's in a situation where you're in that time of like, yeah, when someone's like, oh, like you have to pull the plug. That's an unfortunate situation no one should ever have to be in. But those are the type of choices that life kind of presents, and I'm like, it's heartbreaking because it is that thing of, yeah, you want to hold on like for hope, but it's like in this situation, it's like it's being told like, hey, there's nothing unless like there's no like not even a miracle. This is what is going to happen. She doesn't have any more time left, and Mo's just beating herself up. I feel like not only did I take away the time Mom could have had with me and Dad, I took away the time Dad, especially considering they've been apart for all these years, seeing each other every once in a while, but not being able to be a family with Mo. Like, I took your time away from each other, and that guilt is always going to be there. Nothing, that's the thing of, like, guilt is something you have to deal with on your own, and, either you kind of have you face it and find a way to kind of live with it, but I think in the end, it's going to end up kind of consuming Mo. And I think that's what happened with Crane and Shrike. It's like, right, they're consumed by their own guilt, maybe their own powerlessness. And the same thing in Mo's case of just like, she feels like it's a whole conversation of like, right, not running from your feelings, but that's what exactly this is. And I think Morgan knows that better than anyone of what he's done. He's kind of run away from stuff and his feelings. And I think that's why, like, he sees so much of himself in Mo in that moment where it's like, don't let that guilt and those feelings cloud you, because he's like, I ran away from my feelings for so many years and I only got closure on them recently. You were there last episode to see me get closure on something I've been running away from for over a decade. But Morgan not being able to get there in time because he was afraid that he wouldn't get there in time. And when he was like, you know what you have to do, I think that was meant to be for Mo, but I also thought like it was Grace being like, right, I'm a go out on my own terms. I thought that's what that was going to be. I thought she was going to take herself out, but when the time came, Mo couldn't do that. I mean, it's too often in this we've seen people, not only just friends, but people having to do it to family and loved ones. I mean, there's so many friends who are loved ones in this universe, but like, we've seen it like, fathers having to do it to their sons, or, children having to do it to their parents, siblings having to do it to one another. Like, it is just, we've seen it too often in this world, and it's just, it's heartbreaking. But Mo couldn't do it, and it had to be Morgan. I think it speaks volumes that it's like, especially after last episode, he wasn't one to do it. Like, he didn't leave Grace in that state, because I think for him, especially after everything that happened with Jenny and with Dwayne, he couldn't do that. So he ended up being the one that put Grace down, and it's just, you could just see like how despondent Mo was after everything. She was just sitting there staring at Grace. It was just like a reminder of like the biggest mistake she's made in her life. It's like what she took away from, like, it's like I took away my mom's final moments that she could have had with my dad, and I took away my dad's final moments with her. So when Shrike is like, yo, you're going to do this for us because it's for the future. Take this axe. We've seen what you can do with it. You need to go clear that shipyard, because all the stuff that's in there could be used to rebuild. And I'm so curious, is it going to be what they think it is? Or could it have been something that, have they checked on it? They probably haven't checked on it in so long. Like, what if it's not what you think it is anymore? It could be almost like that thing of, God, who was it? Oh, God, wasn't El Chapo, was it? The drug lord that, like, has money stashed in so many different places, but it was left there so long that basically it became lunch for rats. It's kind of like that. Was like, what if it sat there so long and just things aren't in the state that you thought they were? In fact, it's all kind of been for naught. You've dedicated all these years, you've built all of this Padre thing, because as Dove puts it, Padre isn't a person, it's an idea and what it represents as a cause. But Mo is so ready to be, I mean, she got sucked back into the cult. At first, it's like, right, the cult is all you knew, so of course you're going to follow it. Because, what does any cult do? It takes advantage of you when you are at your lowest, and that's what happened with everyone, like the adults, but the children in particular. Mo in particular got sucked up in it. It's like, right, I'm going to do something good. I'm not going to let my dad die. I already failed my mom. I'm not going to fail my dad again. I'm going to make sure that no one has to feel the way I do. But she is running from her pain. She's diving deep into something. And that's the thing. You don't want to be driven so much by your emotions. Like, she may either try and like compartmentalize, but you're still being driven by that emotion. And you're likely to make mistakes that will get you killed. You're not thinking. You're just like, I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. I got to punch something. I got to kick something. I got to kill something. I got to do this, because it's like, if she has a goal in mind, then it's all worth it. And even Morgan saying that line of, yeah, you can't kill me because I don't die. That's the whole point for him, where it's like everyone else around him is gone. Everyone else around him dies. And it's like, I'm the one that still managed to go on. I always have to be the one that goes on while everyone else around me dies. And then Shrike even goes, maybe given enough time, you'll start to figure out why that is. That maybe it's just kind of a thing of, you are meant for so much more. You are special in your own regard. That's why you keep going. Or it's just kind of like, right, people die just so you can survive. So maybe that's the thought of like, or maybe it's just supposed to be the grander message of, right, like if we build something that can't be torn down, then, you never have to be in this situation to lose someone ever again. Maybe there's multiple ways to kind of interpret that line from Shrike. It could be one of those options, or maybe it's kind of a combination of all of it, a little bit of everything. But Mo is leading the charge with all the other prefects that go clear out the shipyard. So Morgan's just pleading with her not to do it. But like I said, she's just in so much pain right now. It's motivating her decision. So how that plays out in conjunction with Daniel and them, especially because, well, all the prefects are going, which include like the children. So some of Daniel's crew might be more willing. And then maybe on some level, that's kind of what Shrike is hoping for. Because she's like, right, Daniel's crew is comprised of parents. So parents want to protect their children. They'll most likely step in. Because she was like, hey, we trained the prefects to do this. This way we don't have to sacrifice them. We could sacrifice Morgan and his people. But we'll see if it kind of plays out like that. We got a little bit of that relay station when Sherry, Dwight, and Finch are there, but we didn't really get to fully explore it. Maybe in a future episode we will, but Finch's circumstances, like, that's probably not going to be something, because the cure doesn't work. that was also a point Grace was making. It's like, right, why waste the time on a treatment that will not work? But once again, Mo just was so adamant about trying to save her mom. You can't blame her for wanting to try and save her. You know, when everyone's like, yeah, just kind of accept it as is. It's like, I refuse to. I don't want to, because accepting it is the same thing as giving up in her mind. But like I said, sadly, that's kind of led to so many regrets. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out on the Sherry front and side of things. In that regard, Sherry and Dwight and Finch, how that plays out. Like, you know, will they just keep pushing the, like, will there be any, how will they handle that? Because June can't give him too much radiation without it killing him. And now it's just kind of like, can there be anything done, or will Dwight and Sherry have to say goodbye? Once again, they won't be the first parents having to say goodbye to a child, so. It's actually just such a heartbreaking way this played. I just, it's like, man, especially because, once again, like, the fact is of how close her and Morgan were to, like, ending things in season 6's finale, I believe. And then you also add in the Athena of it all, and how, like I said, it's just like that character's journey. And it's also like, she thought she was going to die and that her baby was going to survive type of situation, but her baby ended up dying. She ended up surviving. And now, once again, as she put it, all these years later, it caught up to me, and it's sad. I just wanted them to have a happy ending, but it's The Walking Dead, dude. I was tearing up. I want to say the last thing that hit me this hard was the June and Dory Jr. I want to say that's probably the last time, like, because there's been deaths that have hit me, but like probably this hard was probably that, because that was just another, like, you wish there was a happily ever after in that story, and it's just. There rarely is in this universe a happily ever after. There's some that have happened where it's like, hey, like, was it Isabel and Al? Seems like a happily ever after that we're aware of, you know? So there are examples, but some of kind of, you can't trust anything 100% in this universe. If it's all screwed, you can trust it a little bit to be like, maybe that's a happily ever after, until it turns out like, oh, we're going to bring a certain element back just to kind of stick it to you, you know, just to use this for some emotional damage, you know, storytelling wise. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. The next episode being the mid-season finale, the finale to part 1 of this final season. So how that all plays out, where that takes us, you know, especially as Morgan's not only locked in a train car away from Mo, who's going to walk straight into danger, he's also in there with Grace's dead body. So that's just going to, like, and with everything he dealt with last episode, it's just going to be more and more just like stacking on top of each other. It's like Morgan can't catch a damn break, dude. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see where the mid-season finale takes us with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.